prep, right? It's becoming familiar with things. And so if you just keep doing it under the conditions, you'll become more familiar, you'll become less anxious, and test day will go easier.
And we have there like a quiet spot with no distractions, get familiar. I get all that, but as a parent, I wonder like if you can really force your kid to sit down and do the practice tests.
Well, it is tough, but a lot of times there are people, adults outside who can help. So whether you hire a tutor or you use free resources, and students tend to have a lot of anxiety on their own, and so it's helpful to give them resources and opportunities to prepare and get comfortable.
Can we talk through managing testing anxiety a bit? What are some good tools for doing that?
So it's been proven that journaling about your feelings and your anxiety helps. And it makes sense because when we avoid things, it certainly doesn't get better, right? So whether you're journaling, whether you meditate, whether you have breathing techniques, even for young people, these things matter. And again, back to preparation, familiarity is always going to be key.
I used to cram. I think I'm not alone. Like every time for tests in high school, even in college, and then forget everything right after the test. That's probably not the best strategy.
Well, listen, it's not ideal, but you're prepping for an exam. It's also different if you're prepping for an exam for school versus doing a standardized test, right? There's a very different approach to those two things. And so depending on what the order is, it may work that you kind of maybe not cram, but you kind of focus on the material that you need to know for now, and then you move on.
But staying up all night, never a good idea, right?
Not ideal. Good sleep, good nutrition, all important.
So what happens if your child does all the things, maybe right, or maybe it's cramming, and they don't perform as well as you might hope? What do you do then?
So you want to acknowledge the disappointment, first of all, right? So you say, yeah, you didn't do as well as you hoped, but you also want to keep it light. You want to focus on their effort. You want to tell them, listen, it didn't go your way, but what did go right? And what can we do to support you better going forward? This is going to be important for this test, and it's also important for life. And these aren't the most important things in the world, right? We know there are more important things in life than these tests, even though it might not feel that way in the moment. And the most important thing, of course, is no matter the score, whether super high or low, you still love them.
Love that. Life is a series of tests, right? Barry Norman, thanks so much.
There's much more news ahead.
You were watching NBC News Daily.